Hello! Today is going to be a little bit chilled out. Did quite a little bit of activity yesterday, running and biking in my 2K island, and feeling it a little bit in the body. To be honest, with all the yoga, I'm actually a lot better than I thought I would be, so that's great. But what I'm going to focus on today is just a little bit of lower leg and foot mobility, and just kind of taking care of this part of ourselves. So what I do find, like especially now at the moment, usually I'd run on the trails and I could run for quite a long time without feeling it in my feet. I have a tendency to run on the front, or like toward the forefoot. And but usually when you're on your trails, you're kind of manipulating the foot's kind of landing a little bit unevenly with each footfall, so you're never kind of constantly driving that same pressure. What I'm finding now with all this road running, because I'm kind of restricted to where I can run, I'm just landing on that same point again and again and again, and by the end of my run, especially if it's a long run, it's just burning. So I really am very conscious of looking after my feet a little bit more than usual. And the trails usually help with that, kind of keep that little bit of mobility within the joints and take that pressure off the pads of the feet. So what I'm just going to start on something really simple, and it's just a little bit of self-massage and manipulation. So what I would always use myself is the ball, just for the calves. So again, I'm not going to like spend time on it, but literally that you're just literally rolling every last little bit of the calves out, adjusting your seat whenever you need to, and if you find a little niggle, just holding it there, inhaling, exhaling, and it's on that exhale that you get the release. Okay, so fight the urgency to move off that point, because that point is generally, it could be a little lock in the muscle, okay, a little spasm, a little trigger point. So in order to release that, you do kind of need to press into it and then release. Okay, so anyway, that's just one little tool. I'm not going to spend time with the massage balls, but they are excellent. It just allows you to be a lot more specific into those smaller muscles. The roller I sometimes do use, but I feel it just kind of gives a general massage as opposed to getting into those real tight niggles. Another lovely thing, what we're going to do is a little bit of soft tissue release. So this is kind of yoga combined with my physical therapy, I guess. So the yoga block, again, if you don't have a block, a nice big thick book shall do. We're just going to place that, actually I'll sit the way you will be, so you can see me. So I'll have the block here. It doesn't really matter where you're sitting, the yoga mat, it's just nice to sit on for now. And what we're going to do, so the reason I have the block here is basically just that I can get a full plantar flexion when I'm pointing my foot, and a full dorsal. Okay, so if my heel was on the ground, I wouldn't get that unless I was actually, and then I'm putting kind of pressure onto the arch. So just kind of using the block there so I can really relax into the release. Okay, so the idea of soft tissue release is, so say I want to release this muscle here, I would relax it as much as I can. Sorry, I would relax it as much as I can. Then I pull toward it, and then I'm releasing it out. Okay, so I'm inhaling, pressing in, exhaling, pulling it away. So I'm feeling a stretch all the way up this muscle. Okay, so I'm inhaling, dorsiflexion, putting a lock in here, and I'm pulling it toward me, so away from the movement. Okay, so this is a lovely way, and you're just working your whole way up the muscle. Okay, this I feel is magic if you're tight, particularly into the calves, into the fronts of the legs, and you can get really specific. So I'm inhaling, locking, exhaling, really slowly pressing away. So there should feel like quite a lot of resistance. And you'll notice actually my ankle is kind of shaking there. And I'm working the whole way up the length of that muscle. And you can do this on any muscle. It's just actually a really nice one because your lower leg is quite accessible. It's hard enough for you to do, like say your quads or your hamstrings. You kind of need somebody to help you with that. So again, I'm inhaling, flexing, exhaling, pointing, and then I can work all. I could go into inversion where I'm drawing the foot in. So again, I'll pull it there. Actually, no, I'll evert first, and then I'll invert, evert, lock in. So you get the idea. So you can do that all the way up. And then if I'm wanting to work into my calves, which I know for a lot of runners, this is an area that you like to do, we'll actually point the foot first instead of dorsiflex it. Then we'll get both our thumbs in, and we'll start right down near our Achilles. So we're going to lock both thumbs in, and we're going to pull them away from the movement. So it's always away from the movement. So I'm pulling them toward me, and then I'm dorsiflexing. Again, I'll work my way up the muscle. Inhale, exhale, draw the toe toward me. Inhale, point, lock in, exhale, release. Inhale, point, lock in, exhale. Again, you could do this, and again, if you find something that's particularly tight within that muscle, you could do what you did with the ball there, or you can just hold your thumb into it and press into it. Hold it there, putting that pressure into the muscle. So the idea is you're kind of restricting the blood flow into those muscle tissues, and then when you do take that grip away, you're getting this kind of like rush of nutrients and oxygen back into the tissues to hopefully help release. So there's a lot of sciencey stuff going on in there, so don't get too caught up in that, although it's really interesting, so if you do Google it. So again, you can just do that and then massage it out. But as I say, the STR, soft tissue release, pointing, drawing the toe toward me, and that lock of my thumbs is away from the movement all the time. So you should feel that stretch all along the back side of your leg. And of course, if you're doing it on one side, even if the other side isn't tight, I'd still recommend you do it on that too. So I'm starting with dorsi for the front, and then point. This one's actually a lot tighter. And work with your breath. I'm probably going to wee bit fast here. So you're inhaling, exhaling, point. And you don't have to hold it when you're inhaling, then you lock, and then exhale, release. I'm actually finding little trigger points. So trigger points are basically little parts of the muscles that have caused these little binds, or these little trigger points. But where you could have a little trigger point in here, it could actually be radiating pain up here. It could be right down into your foot, and you're actually feeling the pain in your foot, or you're feeling it in your hip, or you're feeling it in your leg, or in your upper leg, but it's actually originating here. So if we can get those originators of those trigger points and we can release them, we'll actually open up the fascia along that whole line. Okay, and often our calves are a big culprit for those trigger points, so do take the time. And again, this is something you can be doing after your session, watching Netflix in the evening, chatting to your friends on Zoom or whatever it is. So again, just working away on that. You can even bring a little bit of movement into it, see how that feels. Sometimes if you, ooh, yeah, you can feel that eversion along that muscle. So it's a really good way of just self-massaging, okay? So at the moment, unfortunately, we can't get to our massage therapist unless you're lucky enough to actually live with one. So, you know, we do need to kind of respond to that and keep ourselves right. And I know a lot of people are, they're probably being a lot more active because they have this extra time. So even though they might be able to get outside so much, they might be loading it up in the turbo trainer or doing a lot of like circuit training and stuff inside, or even within the radius, you're still getting the miles in. So it is important that we also look after the recovery. Actually, at the moment, probably more so than any time, because we want to keep ourselves right, strong. So there's no point in us exercising ourselves into oblivion and then some virus comes along and we've got no resistance. So again, really important, these little therapy sessions. Okay, so again, you could do that for a lot longer. You could do it for an hour and just really work into the muscles, and it's actually such a lovely release, and it can be done. You're helping, again, if you've got like Achilles tendonitis, that one for the calf is really nice, and that you're just working the calf muscle, and that's helping release the tendon there as well. Okay, so from that, what we're going to do is we need a towel. I should have said that at the start. A towel, and again, 1 or 2 blocks. Always good to have 2 blocks or 2 big books. Towel, we don't need our strap for now. So what we're going to start with, I'm just going to get my towel, and I'm going to place my feet onto the towel. So we're going to work into our plantar flexion, or pointing our feet. So what you'll find with athletes, Unless generally if you're a swimmer or if you do a lot of your movements in your forefoot, maybe if you're a dancer, your plantar flexion could be quite good, or maybe even you might be hypermobile. But for a lot of, and the majority of athletes, their plantar flexion isn't so good because they tend to have their foot in lockdown a lot. So again, if you're running, unless you're forefoot striker, again the majority are midfoot and then some are back foot. And then particularly cyclists, they tend to dorsiflex for quite long periods of time. So this can be feeling quite bad already, can feel quite sore or quite tight, should I say. So it's not really what you're looking for here. Okay, so this on its own might be enough for you. Again, if you really already have quite a lot of mobility in plantar flexion, you can always place your block, place the feet on the edge and just get an extra stretch. What I find here, you're going to start to feel those arches maybe cramp up a little bit, okay, when you're going into that kind of hyper plantar flexion. You can always massage out the arches here while you're at that, which is really nice too. Okay, so I'm just going to take it out of that for now because we're going to do a few little knee lifts. So again, feet, it's just there for padding the towel. Okay, we'll start with our fingers on the ground. Again, if you've shorter arms in your body and it's uncomfortable, just to keep that nice long spine, you can place your hands on the blocks as well. And we're just going to inhale, lift the right knee up. Okay, so the foot staying where it is, inhale it up, hold for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale, left up. And again, you see I'm just getting a stretch into the front of the leg, right into the ankle, right into the foot. Release. Inhale, right up. Exhale, release. Inhale, left up. Exhale, release. Try to get a little bit more lift with each inhale. Okay, so we're gradually working a little bit more mobility, a little bit more stretch into the front of the foot. And release. We're going to try for a double knee lift. So again, some people find this very tricky. Just see how you go, and maybe just even continue with the single knee lifts until you feel a little bit more mobile, you're getting a good lift, and then go for the double. But if you feel that you're okay, we're going to inhale, lift both knees, and we're going to hold for 3, for 2, and 1. Exhale, release, and lift. Release and lift and release. 2 more. And again, you could do these multiple times if you want to really work into that ankle mobility. And release. Last one. And release. Lovely. Okay, from here we're going to come on to the balls of the feet because we're after doing quite a little bit of work into the front of the foot. So just coming on to the balls of the feet and just sitting back toward the heel. Okay, so just release and just doing a little counter pose. Nothing really happening here apart from releasing and then getting a little bit of a stretch into the plantar fascia. Okay. Feels good. So from here we're going to get our block. And we're going to place our block lengthways at the front of the mat to the right. And then we're going to place that right foot onto the mat, or sorry, onto the block. Okay? We want to make sure the whole width of the forefoot is supported on the block. We can tuck that left toe under, or we can put a little padding under the knee if it doesn't feel good. And we're actually, so usually in yoga we say not to track the knee forward of the ankle. That's only when it's load bearing, where it's taking a load. In this case it's okay. So again, we're trying to get a little bit more dorsiflexion here. Okay, so that flex, that toe toward the knee. And we should feel that into the front of the ankle and into that little perineal muscle at the front of the leg. I'm just holding it here. Again, try to keep the spine long. So upper body's relaxed. Spine always long, chest always open. So we're always thinking of those little cues, even when we're working the lower body. Again, that back foot can stay flat if you want to work in a little bit of plantar flexion while you're there. And then from here, we're going to sit back toward the heel. We're going to bring those toes toward the face. We're going to work into a little bit of a Actually, I'll come onto the flat of the foot here. We're going to come into a little bit of a hamstring stretch. Okay, so the more we pull those toes toward the face, the more we're going to feel it in our lower leg and into our Achilles. If we just want to feel it in the hamstring, we don't need to pull so much. And again, we're not locking out that right knee. Okay, so we've got lovely ligaments happening in behind that knee, and we don't really want to stretch them. We're just looking at a stretch into the muscle. Okay, so you don't want to feel pain in behind that knee. If you want to intensify it a little bit, you can draw the chest forward. Again, if you're already really flexible and you know you can come further forward but with a long spine, by all means go ahead. And then from here, so we're on the flat of the foot here in the left, we're going to sit down onto that right sit bone the whole way. And again, we might just choose to stay here if we already feel a stretch into that left thigh, or we might walk the hands back. So we're going for a little stretch into the left quad here. We might come down onto our forearms. We might come down a little bit lower. We might lie the whole way back. Again, if you're lying back, you're trying to get the spine connected to the mat. And again, really what you're looking for here, it doesn't matter how far you come back, to be honest. What you're looking for mostly is just this lovely little stretch into the quad. Okay? So we're going to come forward. We're going to do that one more time, and then we'll go over to the other side. So again, foot is grounded. Make any little adjustments that you need. We're pressing the knee forward, so we're feeling that into the front of the leg and into the front of the ankle. Hands aren't on the knee, so no pressure on the knee joint at all. We can just press into the thigh here, throwing our centre of gravity a little bit far forward of the actual body. So as well as dorsey here, we're going to feel a nice little stretch into the calf and the Achilles. And again, you can hold it here maybe for 10 breaths. Again, your choice. Whenever it starts to feel good, and just taking an extra few breaths. And then slowly coming back. Again, getting our little hamstring calf stretch. Hands can go wherever. Again, if you want to go a little bit deeper, drawing the chest forward, keeping the chest open, drawing those toes toward the face. But again, don't overstretch the hamstrings, particularly as athletes. You just want to get it where you feel a nice gentle stretch and then work into it. So we should feel this a little bit in the right glute here as well, pressing that hip away, pressing that heel away. And then we're falling out gently onto that right sit bone. And then we're walking the hands back. So again, if we come to here and we're feeling that stretch, then that's fine, just stay here. So don't start to fight toward the ground. We don't want that knee lifting. If we can keep it pressed down, all the better. And then we can walk onto forearms if it feels good. Try to keep the knee slightly toward the centre so it's not splaying out. Okay, we don't want to put any lateral forces on our knee either. We don't have to have the knees exactly glued together here. So what we were saying is we want to work with that knee hip alignment. So we have that nice straight line. So we're trying to not really focus too much on internal rotation of the hips, okay, because we tend to do that a lot anyhow as athletes. We can come down the whole way down if we want, but again, what you'll find here, if we come the whole way down and we're up into this mad arch, just come back onto the forearms and let the body gently come in, because you do want a little bit of support in that lower back, okay. And then slowly back onto forearms. And then bring it right back up to the front of the mat. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So again, removing the block off to the side. That actually feels good to flex the foot after pointing it for so long. So again, making sure the full width of the foot is grounded into that block. Right angle, from the hip to the knee, knee to the foot. And again, if you want to place that towel underneath the flat of the foot, if it does feel a little bit niggly. And again, we're just gently leaning the hips forward, allowing that knee come toward the front of the mat. So it might be coming over the toe, it mightn't be, but it's just you're getting that little bit of a flex here, and you're getting that extra little bit of length into the calf and Achilles. So where I'm really feeling it here is right in here and all up along the outer lower leg. That's what we're looking for. Should not feel it in the knee. And if you do, just back off. Again, your knee is tracking directly forward, so it's not tracking in. So tendency for those hips to start to tighten and that knee to track in, so just bring it right back out that it's facing forward and over that middle toe. Lovely. And then slowly releasing it back. Coming onto the heel, drawing the toes toward us, getting a little stretch in behind the leg. Careful not to lock out. I actually don't think my legs can lock out. I've done great work at tightening my hamstrings over multiple years that I don't think when people say lock out your knee fully, yeah, it doesn't happen, just never happens. I'm okay with that. I know the muscles are strong. Just once there's a little bit of flex there, so then if you do kind of fall out of your sport or whatever you're doing, you do have that little bit of sway to go with. It's important. And then dropping over onto that left sit bone. Again, we might feel it into that quad already. And adjusting it back. Definitely a little bit tighter on this side today. And I know already I'm not going to come down the whole way. But I'm okay with that once I'm feeling that stretch. So again, focus here is just on the muscles that we're working on, but still keeping the spine long, still keeping the chest open, so we're not forgetting about all the other things. And then gently, gently coming back to center. Again, we'll do that one more time. Foot, again, flatten the block. Pressing that knee forward. Well, not pressing the knee forward, throwing the body weight forward, but the knee is tracking forward. Again, we should be able to look over the toe, and that point of the knee is literally centered on the foot. So it's not dropping in. Keeping the spine long, keeping the shoulders rolled back, maybe tucking the chin a little bit to release the neck. And keeping the core strong. So this is a little bit of a hip opener here too as well. If you keep that core engaged, press forward, you're going to feel a lovely opening into the front of the right side of the pelvis. And coming right back, sitting back onto the heel. Heel comes to the block, toe comes to the face. Again, we might draw that chest forward. And again, if you are already quite open in the lower back and hamstrings, by all means, if it's comfortable for you, come the whole way down, or as far as you wish to go. This is as far as my body is feeling like it wants to go today, and I'm totally okay with that. And then coming on to that sit bone again. And again, if it's a little bit much to have the foot still on the block at this stage, you can always take it off. Okay, that's just to keep a little bit of length into the hamstring. But if you just want to focus on the quad stretch for this one, by all means take the foot off the block. And we're just lying back, or we're staying in forearms, or we're covered the whole way, or we're staying up on our hands. Again, we're drawing the leg towards center, but just leaving a little bit of a gap. Once we're feeling that stretch along the quad. I don't want you to aggravate the knees here, so the stretch should be into the quad muscle, not into the knee joint. And if it is, just make sure you come back up until you feel it into the belly of the muscle. So we're always looking at stretching the belly of the muscle as opposed to where it attaches and where it inserts, okay, because that's where all the oxygen is flowing. We don't really want to aggravate our tendons and ligaments so much, it's just that lovely fleshy part of the muscle. Lovely. And then we're going to come right back up, down onto the knees. And we're going to try our little knee lifts again. Some people are going to hate me for this one. Okay, so we're inhaling right knee up. Again, see if we can get a little bit more height. Exhale it down. Inhale left knee up. Exhale it down. Inhale right knee up. Exhale it down. Inhale left, exhale, inhale right, exhale, inhale left, exhale, and then we go for doubles. Inhale, hold for 3, for 2, and 1, release. 2 more. Inhale, for 3, for 2, and 1, release. Last one, for 3, for 2, and 1, release. Lovely. And then again from here, you can scooch that tail away for now, coming onto the balls of the feet. We're going to keep the knees together on the balls of the feet. We're pressing the ground away and we're pressing the sit bones back toward the heels. So it's a little bit like child's pose, except we're on the balls of the feet. This is a lovely one again for the Achilles. We're getting a little bit into the plantar fascia. We're lengthening the spine, hopefully. Getting a little bit of space into the lower back, in between the shoulders. Rest the head down if it feels good on the mat, or you can always place a block or a pillow underneath the head. And again, you can stay here as long as you wish. And then we're going to press the hands into the mat, and we're going to press it back into our downward dog. And again, we're just going to use our downward dog to get that space into the lower legs. So we still are thinking about lifting the hips. We're still thinking about opening through the shoulders, keeping the shoulders nice and strong, pressing the ground away. But our main focus here is just walking those feet out. So drawing opposite heels toward the ground, feeling that lovely stretch into the calves, right up into the hamstrings. Maybe swaying the hips side to side, maybe looking out underneath opposite armpits, getting a little stretch into the side waist and into the hips. Whatever feels good. And then coming back to stillness. We're going to come back down onto the knees here and tuck back, sitting back onto our toes. Okay, so from here, pressing the hands into the mat, we're going to come into the little seated squat. Now for some people, I'm not included in those some people, they can sit back onto their heels quite easily. For other people, the heels are lifted, and for other people, they need a little support. Okay, so just see how you feel here. Okay, so if you need a bit of support, if you feel like you're just going to totally fall head over heels, take a little bit of support. But what we're going to focus on here is we're going to hold our hands out in front, and we're going to inhale, lift onto the balls of the feet, exhale, drop the heels. So if that block being there, you're touching it when you drop the heels, you can remove it, because we're trying to get a little bit of length into our calves and Achilles here as well. So we're inhale, lifting, micro movements, exhale, drop the heels. Keep the core engaged. Exhale, release. Woo! Inhale, lifting. Exhale, drop the heels. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, drop the heels. 3 more. And again, you can do this multiple times. So we're trying to strengthen those arches. We're really grounding the balls of the feet into the mat. Last one. And release. Okay. So keeping that, so we're still on the balls of the feet. We're going to, so I just have my hands extended out in front for balance. If you feel you don't need that, you can always bring your hands to your hips, your choice. I'm going to work with my balance. So as I inhale, staying on the balls of the feet, nice and slowly up. Exhale it down, staying on the balls of the feet, keeping the knees tracking forward. Inhale it up, slowly. Exhale it down. Inhale. Exhale, still on the balls of the feet, really challenging yourself here. And the slower you do this movement, the more you're having to work those quads as well, and those little foot balancers. We're going to inhale halfway, pause. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, heels down. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, heels down. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, heels down. Inhale all the way up. Take a breath. Or 2. Inhale here, exhale it down, halfway. Inhale, woo! Okay, I'm going to have to concentrate here. Inhale, balls of the feet. Exhale, heels down. Inhale, balls of the feet. Exhale, heels down. Inhale, balls of the feet. Exhale, heels down. And release it down. Again, we just take 2 breaths in between. Just to reset, we're going to do 2 more of those. Inhale, halfway, reset, inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, release. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, release. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, release. Inhale it up. Take a breath. Again, trying to really stay in the balls of the feet if we can. So we're really working on those little foot muscles. Inhale, exhale, halfway. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, release. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, release. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, release, and lower it down. Again, take a breather. I know I said this is going to be a relaxing, but you're going to thank me after for these legs. Okay, last round. Hands out, inhale, halfway, reset. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, release. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, release. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale, release. Inhale it up, still on the balls of the feet. Reset. Hands out, inhale, exhale, halfway. Inhale, balls of the feet, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last one. And release. Woo, lovely. Okay, just to give ourselves a little release, we can use the towel. And we might do the hips here while we're at it. So just keeping the feet together, knees about hip-width distance apart, walking the hands forward and just coming into a nice relaxed child's pose, wide-legged. Again, pressing the ground away, keeping that spine nice and long, and just giving the feet a little relax. And then slowly walking the hands back toward the body. So we're going to need our block for the next bit. So just placing it out in front. We roll the knees together. Again, we're just going to come through a little downward dog and just to walk those feet out. So we've been working those feet and those calves and those quads and those hamstrings. Actually, we've been working quite a lot into all the legs. So just taking any little variation in your downward dog that feels good in the body. And then gently, we're going to walk to the front, to the mat. And gently roll up to stand. Okay, so I'm going to face you for the next bit. So you're going that way, I'm going this way. Just have my block here for me. So we're going to start, again, just finding all corners of the feet into the mat, okay? And what I want you to try to do is keep the big toe grounded, but we're going to lift the outer toes off the mat. Just see how that feels. So what you might find, it's a lot easier on one side than the other. You might find those lower leg muscles engaging, and then we're going to place them down. And then we're going to try to keep those toes grounded, and we're just going to lift the big toes off. So again, just see how that feels. Again, I'm finding, I can see all my toes on the right are all good, and then this left one seems to be creeping up with the big toe. So there's something going on there. Okay, so see if you can just noticing those imbalances. So just do that a few more times. So grounding the big toe, lifting the outer feet, grounding the outer feet, lifting the big toe. So what I find with my runners, you're going to notice that on certain shoes you might wear in one part more so than the other. So that's not always a bad thing, okay, it's just the way that you run. So unless it's causing you issues, you know, if you're getting knee pain, glute pain, ITB issues, it could be just the way your foot's falling. Everybody's going to run slightly different. It's when you start collapsing into your run or your movements that it's dangerous, okay? So if you find that you're wearing a lot more on one side, as in your right side, more so than your left, or vice versa, that's where there's problems, okay? So the wear itself, if it's balanced, it's not so bad. It might be something you need to look at, but that's a whole other session. But if it's more worn on one side than the other, that's definitely a little thing that you need to look at, okay? And you'll notice even when we're doing these little foot mobilizers, how that feels. So even when you come up, You come down, lift your toes up. Sometimes it could be easier on one side than the other. Might be the same both sides. Okay, so grounding the feet into the mat. So from here, actually, I have done a little clip on tree pose, so I'm not going to do it in this session, but tree pose ties in very nicely into this session. So if you get a chance after this, go and do your tree pose, because that's like a fabulous one for the lower legs, ankles, stabilising muscles, and for the hips, and for the core, and for the heart, but particularly for the lower legs today. Okay, but for now, what we're going to do, we're just going to hover that left foot off the ground. So again, checking in those hips that we're not dumping into one or the other. So this is what happens. We want to keep the hips even. And we're just going to inhale up onto the ball of that right foot. Exhale it down. We might extend that left foot out in front actually, just to give ourselves a little bit more space. So we're inhaling up. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Working the calf here. Inhaling up. And the foot. Exhaling down. 2 more. Ooh, I'm falling over. Try not to touch that front foot down. Oh, okay, we do the same with the other side. Okay, so just grounding all corners of that left foot into the mat, lifting that right foot and maybe extend it out front just so we can keep the hips even. We're going to inhale ball of the foot, exhale it down. Inhale ball of the foot, exhale it down. Again, you can hold it for a little bit longer. So I'm just working with the breath. But by all means, you can double breath it or triple breath. Last one. Okay, so that's more strengthening, a little bit of work into space, but for a nice little stretch into our calf as well as strengthening, we're just going to do a few little heel dips, okay? So I'm going to take it to the mat here. So I have my block. Actually, I'll start on the left so you can see it. So actually I'll place it lengthways so we have the weight properly distributed. So we want the pad of the foot, the forefoot, on the block fully and the heel dropping off. I have the wall beside me. Again, if you're working on balance, by all means you don't need to use the wall, you can just work into your balance. I'm feeling my ankles or my cankles today aren't probably going to love the whole balance challenge added, and I actually want to stretch more and I want to work on the balance today. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch my finger to the wall. It could be a chair. Inhale up, exhale, and then I'm dropping my heel down, so I'm getting a lovely stretch, woo, into the calf, into the Achilles, maybe even into the hamstring. So I'm inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhale up. Again, you can extend that right foot out in front once it's just hovering there. And I'm